165 years that we have Neptune in Aries. And the way it can be summed up in its intro is, what if the dream you've been living inside your head takes a life of its own and starts forcing the body? That's what we're dealing with right here. So without further ado, I gotta get the stream set up a little more. So if you guys want to skip ahead to the next timestamp or skip ahead to your reading, let me know. And just click that button. All right, let's check this out. Okay, everything's working. Cool. All right. Okay, here we go. What time is it? 2:20. All right, guys, so welcome. So basically with Neptune and Aries, what we can kind of look at is a reignition of your dreams kind of taking a life of their own, right? So imagine like you just feel the need to make something happen. You feel the need to give life to your dream. You feel the need to really pay attention to, more specifically, where that house is in your body, to understand where it is showing up for you, right? So look at it this way, right? It's not a mood, it's not a vision, it's not a whiteboard. It is your decision. That's kind of what we're dealing with here. So with Neptune entering Aries for the first time in 165 years, what we have is one of those like collective atmosphere shifts where you're not going to feel it in your nervous system first. It's going to increase sensitivity. It's going to increase urgency. It's going to increase the, I can't be fake anymore type of energy. And essentially what we're going to do tonight, or this morning I should say, is, sorry, it's dark. I'm just like, I just woke up and we got to do it. But eventually what we're doing is we're breaking down what Neptune and Aries means. Now, how it can blur impulse between intuition, and then, we're going to be doing the all signs reading, and then I'm going to tell you exactly how it's going to be affecting your life, right? So if you guys are here live, type your rising sign, type it in the chat, and let's get into it, right? So what we have going on here, in essence, is that one of my timestamps? Yeah, it is. 1 second. So what we have in essence going on here is Neptune rules the spirit, it rules intuition, it rules compassion, imagination, and fog, right? So this is the difference between impulse and intuition. And essentially what we have, let me turn my brightness up. So essentially what we have going on here is a lot of like rules when it comes to ignition, identity, action, and taking that first step, right? So a lot of the cycles of what Neptune and Aries is going to shift from Pisces is like, instead of you just farting around with an idea, you're going to be doing an identity check. The essence of alignment will gain so much more truth in spirituality because you're going to have no choice. If it is not you, you will not do it, you will not feel it, you will not see it, you will not motivate it, right? Because the essence of your conscious awareness will become so rapid, so impulsive, and it'll be almost in reference to your spirit, what you want to do, right? So when it comes to that, it's like the fog is going to become essentially a fog of everything you've been consciously aware of, and you'll essentially just be repeating that through life. Like, it's not going to be like as, I'm not going to say it's not going to be as intuitive. It's just going to be like a smaller scope of what you've experienced in capacities of spirit. So it kind of comes back to like, and that's going to be different for numerous different people for multiple reasons. Simply because you're going to choose it from the perspective of like the conscious awareness of your physical incarnation versus the conscious awareness of your spirit's totality of experience, right? So that's where things get a little different. That's where things get like open. That's where things get a bit more chaotic per se. Because the difference between like this life and all of your lives and all of your vessels and all of your like capacities, it's like huge, right? That's totally like something that's too large for you to comprehend. So when we look at like Neptune and Aries as like the brave belief of what you want to experience, it's like the dream learns to move here. And when it comes to that, essentially this is the beginning of an era where it's like you cannot be inspired without being recruited. The vision starts by asking for devotion, and calling starts for consistency. Everybody new in here liked it live. So if we were to like translate this into kind of like normal terms, you can look at it like this. Inspiration that's urgent is kind of like a spiritual itch that you can't ignore. Old identities are thinning and they're harder to perform because just authenticity is going to rule the world, as it kind of already always has, because authenticity is the highest vibration. And then also, you can kind of look at it as like a desire to start over, to be cleaner, is going to really, really start like taking hold of people. Because it's like the essence of who you want to be, the essence of what you want to do just isn't really like it anymore. You can't just like fake it till you make it. Like, that's not it. It's just like, who are you? What are you aligning with? What do you want to make happen? And then essentially the next thing is a deep intolerance to self-betrayal. So it's like, you just can't betray yourself anymore. You can't not do the things you feel. You can't not do the things you like innately want to do, right? So essentially what's going on is like there's going to be a lot of, like I said, this once again, this comes back to the difference between impulse and intuition, which is a whole thing in itself, right? So yeah. So that's pretty much the essence of Neptune and Aries. What's next on the docket? All right. Impulse versus intuition. Ain't that something? So, when we talk about impulse versus intuition, everybody in here likes the live. Double tap the screen for your boy. Don't play with me. I got fucking 0 likes. What the hell? So yeah, what is it? 8 minutes? Yeah. And then if you got gems, send me some gems, dude. Gems are sick. Double tap the screen. All right, so when it comes to impulse versus intuition, essentially this is like the shadow of Neptune and Aries, where it's like Neptune and Aries has one classic trap, which is confusing impulse and intuition, right? So essentially impulse is loud and anxious. Intuition is clean and quiet. It's a very deep and obvious distinction between the two. So when we talk about those two, essentially what it is it's just like, if it's aligned, it brings into your body. If it's escapism, it's kind of like frantic and in your mind, right? So those are things that you got to like really think about. Those are things you got to deal with. Those are things you got to understand and like really do a lot of self-development with, because it's going to force you through it regardless, you know? So when it comes like to understanding like how that feels in your body, essentially like utilizing body intelligence, which is, you know, how I'm going to kind of do the readings here with the solar map, is Aries rules ignition in the head, and then Neptune increases sensitivity in your body, right? So your body is kind of becoming the oracle here. Your body's kind of becoming the one who's understanding what's going on here. And essentially what's going on is the transit rewards cleaner inputs, better sleep, hydration, movement that discharges overwhelm, and boundaries with like escapist habits, you know? Everybody new in here likes alive. So when it comes to actually like integrating this, Yo, you're gonna be the first in the reading. Congrats. Like the live, double tap the screen for me. So, when it comes to an integration practice, essentially what we have going on here is like, you want to write one sentence, right? So it's like, my spirit is calling me, begin with blank. And then essentially choose one action that you can repeat for 2 weeks or a fortnight, and, you know, take small, real, sustainable, like, steps towards it, right? So it's essentially what's going on with like Neptune and Aries is it doesn't reward grand declarations, it rewards devotion that survives mood swings. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here in regards to, you know, integration, right? So now we're going to go sign by sign. We're going to talk about your rising sign first, and, you know, after that you can kind of like check the sun and moon layers if you so choose, and we'll kind of keep it pushing from there. So, first things first, Aries Rising, right? So, essentially the theme with Aries Rising is it's like identity is dissolving and reforming, and you can't really keep performing the old you, right? So, when it comes to Aries, it's not necessarily that like they're performing, but it's the same problem Aries Risings always have, which is they are conflating that feeling of conflating the feeling of like what a true leader does versus like what they want to do, right? So it's like they're kind of in some weird way Aries is always doing it for like, they're not doing it for the gram or doing it for attention necessarily, they're doing it for that energy that comes from people relying on them as a leader. So they often conflate what that is versus what it is that they authentically want to do or they authentically want to be. So when it comes to like the body, it's like this is going to hit you in the head, this is going to be energy levels, this is going to be adrenaline, and watch overstimulation, right? So you're going to notice like how much more tired you get from like trying to just do things out of people relying on you. And you're kind of going to be like, yeah, this ain't for me. Like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to experience that. Like, what the heck's going on, you know? And the practice that you want to do is kind of like rebrand your habits before you want to rebrand your image, if that makes any sense, Aries. So it's kind of like, if you notice you're getting tired of like being a leader or being something like that people rely on in terms of like what you have going on, it's kind of how do I say? It's kind of a, you know, a sign that like that's not you. That's not what you want to be. That's not what you want to experience, right? And that's going to be the immediate sign of just like it's not something for you. It's not something that you want to do. And just like you need to grow up. You need to move on. You need to like recognize that if you truly want to be a leader, you truly want to experience something, like you got to do it for you. You got to learn how to move on. You got to learn how to essentially just like grow up and recognize that like, hey man, if it's not for you, it's not for you. Relax. It's okay. You can move up. You can move on. You can actually understand how you want to experience these things, right? So the next one is Taurus Rising. So if we got any Tauruses in the chat, please comment that now. But essentially Taurus Rising is dealing with spiritual initiation because it's in the 12th house. So when it comes to Taurus Rising, it's a lot of hidden fears, old grief, and ancestral fog clearing, right? Because what a lot of people overlook is genetic memory. People don't think about genetic memory. People don't think about the experiences. And I don't know how many generations it goes back. Everybody says it differently. But when it comes to that essence, right? It's like Taurus is going to feel it in your feet. It's going to be in your sleep. It's going to be in your dreams. It's going to be in your nervous system. It's going to be like, you know, a lot of like decompression from that, right? So when we talk about nervous system decompression, essentially what we have going on here is like You know, why do animals shake? Why do people say shake it off? Because if you feel something within you, need to, you know, shake, release it, let it go, move on. It's something that is going to help you over time. It's something that's going to help you release. It's something that's going to help you experience these things. So a practice if you can do is just like quiet devotion, less sharing, more cleansing. And then eventually you can journal like, what am I ready to forgive and release? Because it's like, you know, Taurus be holding grudges. Everybody knows Taurus is holding a grudge. Like, come on, man. Like, they just don't want to do anything because it's like, is it worth the energy? Is it worth the resources? Everything for Taurus is predicated on resources, you know? So that's kind of like what we're dealing with here in regards to Taurus. Now, moving on to Gemini, which is the 11th house, which is interesting. Gemini is dealing with the theme of community purge, lots of community purge, and future aligned networks, right? So your people change. A lot of people, that's what a lot of, that's what's really coming for in terms of, you know, Neptune and Aries. Like Gemini is actually spending a lot of time understanding like the company they keep, you know? So that's like huge in a way though, because that's going to change Gemini as a whole. And as we know, Uranus is also entering Gemini. So the essence of Gemini itself is going to be changing, which it always is, but it's just like right now, Gemini won't be able to feel, Gemini just won't be able to feel, everybody knew Light the Live and Drop Your Rising sign. They won't be able to feel the same need of impulsively chasing ideologies and knowledge the same way, because if it doesn't identify with their spirit, it'll naturally be rejected, and they won't want to spend time with those mentalities, thus those people. So when it comes to your body, Gemini, essentially what we're dealing with is circulation, restlessness, and social overstimulation. So the practice you can do is join fewer rooms, spend less time on Discord, and choose truer essences of who you are, right? So a journaling practice that you can do for this is, where have I outgrown my audience? In this case for me, it's these comments out ice of where it's like, you know, I swear like the only thing people know how to do about any social injustice is just tell other people and accomplish nothing. And that's just like sad, because it's just like, you're just going to wait for the next algorithm push to change your brain, and eventually you're going to get the Neuralink, and that's going to tell you what to think. So it's kind of like, bro, what are we doing here, you know? But anyways, moving on to Cancer Rising. You know, it's like some people are feminists and wearing their, you know, genital hats to protest, and other people are Ginsburg in it and actually changing legislation in the system that quote unquote enslaves them, you know? Very different people. We got our comment warriors, we got our people that do actual change. Take your choice. Yo, Trey, you're up early. I appreciate you. Double have to scream for your boy. But yeah, I was talking like, I mean, you see the comments, like people are just being stupid. And they're thinking they're doing anything when they're just like, you know, a wise person said it best when they said, politics is theater for the ugly. So, ugly people in spirit and mind, the people doing it, ugly in the face. Oh, you got a new job, dude? What'd you get? Oh yeah, we're moving on to Cancer. So yeah, Cancer. Cancer's dealing with this in the 10th house. So you can look at it as like vocation becomes calling, and the career fog lifts through action. So oh yeah, classic warehouse job, dude. That'll hold you down. Double have to scream for your boy. Oh yeah, and then I don't know if YouTube's still giving you free gems, but like if you got gems, send me some gems. Cause I'm pretty sure like it's free. Yo, congratulations, Trey. I'm happy for you. But yeah, so Cancer, I don't know, Cancer is just gonna be chilling. Cancer's just gonna be like, hey man, that's, you know, warehouses are kind of like UPS where you can just work your way up, man. You know how it goes. If you see a way to get up, go up. And you know, wait, what's your you Gemini, right? Gemini Rising? Forget your rising sign. But anyways, Cancer's Cancer's always gonna feel it in the chest. Why is Cancer always like that? Of where it's chest tightness. You know, if you're misaligned publicly, you're gonna feel the you know. Essentially, what you can do as a practice is build a public path that matches your private truth, and then in terms of journaling, just write, "What am I here? What am I here to be known for?" Like it's as simple as that for Cancer. Now moving on to Leo, we got a lot of Leos. Oh, he's got a lot of Leos. All right. 21. So for Leo, this is in the 9th house, and the theme is belief system reboot. Spiritual philosophy becomes lived, not aesthetic. And a lot of Leos have been like not really feeling like the vibes for like what they used to do, and it's been feeling like inauthentic. Whoa, Trey, much appreciated. So yeah, I just thought, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But yeah, essentially what Leo's dealing with is like, you know, they're just not vibing with what they used to do. When it comes to the body, the nervous system kind of like overloads when you overconsume information, especially if you're not going to use it. So what I sort of like suggest to Leos is like study less, practice more. And when I say study, it's like, I don't mean just read books for the shit of it. I mean like you're doing something. There's someone who has walked that path before you, and this is specific, articulable information that you can use now, right? So it's just like, here, I'm gonna get a book. So it's like, for example, I just launched a book. I launched my 2026 Moon Manifestation Guide. You know, if anybody trades, free in the Alchemist Laboratory, go get it. And I also launched a physical copy. So if you care, I'll send you the link, shoot you the discount code for Alchemist Laboratory members. Basically, when it comes to studying books, what it is like, I launched something that I want to put out. So to understand that, I'm reading $100 million money models. What does this teach you in this book? Okay, when you launch a product, this product is a lead magnet. This product has upsells attached to it. How do I apply that? Oh, okay, I go to the section that says, okay, if I want this and I want to advertise it, this section right here says to truly advertise it, I need to price it at this. I need to put it out at this point. Because if I sell one, I literally have more runway to actually advertise to get more people to actually buy this product. You know? So it's just like little things like that of truly understanding like what it is, what you want to do, how to apply it. That's what it is for Leos. If you can't use it, don't look at it. Don't learn it. It doesn't apply value to you, right? So for Leos, essentially, it's like look at what the journaling prompt says. It says, what truth am I willing to live, not just learn? If you're not living it, don't pay attention to it. Don't put any intentions on it. That's what it is. Now moving on to Virgo. Virgo is dealing with this in the 8th house, I believe. So essentially the theme is deep purge, energetic oh, damn, they're going to be going through that for a while. But the you know? So the theme for that is energetic boundaries, intimacy without fantasy. And for the body, it's a lot of gut tension, right? So it's like when trust is off, what do you think you should do when trust is off, Virgo? What do you think? You know? So essentially the practice that you want to do for this is audit attachments. clean the cords. Figure out those urges, right? Because when it comes to Virgo, oh, you showed it right when I was doing Cancer. Yeah. I don't know why the comments stop. Sometimes the comments be stopping. Yeah, I'm an astrologer. That's my job. I be astrologating. But yeah, where was I? I was talking about Virgo. Yeah, Trey, you still here? I get lost in the comments sometimes because I get so stuck. That's cool. Congratulations. But yeah. So essentially, what's going on with Virgo is they have to audit attachments, clean cords, and basically journal like, where do I merge out of fear? And when it comes to saying where do I merge out of fear for a Virgo rising, hey man, it's a long list. But anyways, moving on to Libra and then Scorpio for the Scorpios here. Libra has this in the 7th house. So for Libra, we're dealing with a lot of relationship illusions dissolve, soul contracts get rewritten. So for you, part of the body, this is like the hips, a lot of throat chakra and heart. You'll kind of feel like it's just like a sudden like stitch or like pull back when you're being too authentic. Nice to meet you. What part of Pakistan? I heard it's a beautiful country with a lot of wide variety. But yeah, so Libra is just gonna be like they're gonna feel it in the body if they're like not aligning with people, and it's gonna be very obvious because Libra Aries opposite axis. So yeah, essentially like what the practices is like you want to replace mixed signals with clear standards. Just like it's always boundaries, it's always rules, it's always self-respect. Like it's just basic things. Basic interaction that you don't need to like over explain through astrology, like it's kind of like what it is. But the astrology is great for like identifying what it is, where it is. But like when it comes to like it's like people be doing too much. But anyways, journaling for this Libra is you want to ask yourself like, what does love look like when it's honest? Like it's all about authenticity. It's all about alignment. It's literally the vibes right now. And the thing with Neptune and Aries is just like, you're going to feel it, And one thing I didn't say is that I'm probably going to work on a longer video, like actual like video, where I like go through like a comparative essence of what Neptune and Aries is from the last time it happened. Because the last time Neptune was in Aries was the American Civil War. And, we got a lot of alignments of like big, like, conflict times. So yeah, there's that. But for Scorpio has this in. I'm really hitting these double troubles. Scorpio has this in the 6th house, so it's like lifestyle becomes ritual, healing becomes daily. So for the body, it's like stress load, inflammation, burnout signals. If it's not aligned with you, don't do it, right? So for Scorpio, it's like a lot of Scorpios are going to be walking into Neptune Aries with like mild health issues, and they're going to learn like these practices to be super healthy, because when it comes to Scorpio, essentially what Scorpio has dealing with is what is it? Like intuition often is correlated with the gut, and Scorpios are like deeply emotional, deeply intuitive, deeply aligned with what they have going on. So with Saturn naturally being on the 6th house, which is like your gut chakra, that's like, be healthy, dude. Watch out for inflammation, because it's gonna hit you, and it's just like, if you feel it in your gut and you feel that it's not right, like Scorpio, it ain't for you, dude. So it's like paying attention to stress load and what you have going on is very important. Now, when it comes to practice, you should spiritualize your routine, not your coping, right? It's like you're not doing all this to be able to sustain what's going on. Ain't that a fact? Scorpios are loyal. And then when it comes to like journaling, essentially it's asking you what system would make your body feel safe. What do you want to do? Because it's like, Scorpio, if you're on edge and like you very often are and just don't show it, you're doing a disservice to everybody. Like, come on, bro. You know? That's what it is. Now moving on to Saggy. Wow, I'm really hitting this 2 minutes serious. So Sagittarius has us in the 5th house. Creativity becomes devotion. Romance becomes more soulful. And less performative. So when it comes to the body, this is all like, you know, heart energy, solar plexus. And noticing what sparks drains you versus excites you, you know? So the practice for that is like make art for 14 days straight, no negotiation, and really identify what's going on in terms of like aligns with you, right? And for journaling, essentially what you should ask is like, what would I create if I wasn't trying to be impressive? Like what truly aligns with you, Sagittarius? So essentially like what's going on with that energy is like, you know, excitement's going to be obvious, right? And therefore alignment is obvious for you. So when it comes to the Sagittarius energy, it's like you're going to be observing chaos, right? But chaos is the birthplace of like art and what truly aligns with you. And when I say observing chaos, I'm specifically referencing Uranus in Gemini literally opposing you. Here you go. So essentially what we have going on with this is just like create for yourself. Create what aligns with you. Create what you truly want to make happen. And understand that, you know? So now, moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn is dealing with this in the 4th house, which is the actual heart, home, family, nervous system, safety. And, you know, all of that kind of gets rewritten for Capricorn. Why it gets rewritten is because it's like, you know, it's Neptune and Aries. You're going to feel it. Like, authenticity and alignment is going to become a physical response for people. Like, I'm telling you, you know? So that's like, you know, once it becomes physical, it's like you can't ignore it now. So it's like you have to do something, which is why it leads to this like cascading effect of like systemic change that we're going to experience with Saturn and Aries as well. So when it comes to that, it's kind of like you're going to feel belly tension. Like you're going to need softness and privacy. And like the practice is make your home a healing container. Like, you know what your standards are, Capricorn. You know what you like. You know, like, you love luxury. Like, don't lie. Well, here's the opportunity to make your home luxurious. What you thought. You know what I'm saying? So, oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, hey, Beans. You know, I knew it was early. I didn't want to bother you. But I appreciate it nonetheless. And, you know, you're showing up on Capricorn. And then this kind of like Neptune and Aries like straight up explained like why you don't feel connected to everything you were discussing, where it's just like, you know, authenticity is alignment and you're gonna feel it and can't ignore it now. So there you go. And then when you know, you'll see it in timestamp when you scroll back to the what is it? The Leo reading that pretty much sums it up. But anyways, so the journaling prompt for Capricorn is, what do I need to feel safe in my own life? Simple as that. Now moving on to Aquarius. Aquarius is like 30. Aquarius has this in the 3rd house. This deals with voice. Like your voice dissolves and reforms. New messages, new tone, new truth. And then the body is throat, breath, mental bandwidth, right? So it's like, what do you want to like, you know, it's like Aquarius be circumnavigating, switching, moving around. From Oh, thank you, Beans. Much appreciated. Oh yeah, and I'm dropping that moon video tomorrow. I'm excited. What do I want to say for Aquarius? Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's just like new message, new tone, new truth. It's kind of similar to Gemini, where it is. I don't know. It's like, how do I say? Like, it's just like who they align with, right? Like, it's just like, you know, Aquarius is the master of like social dynamics and sometimes manipulation, and it's just like, why am I? It's on the 1st, February 1st, full moon in Leo. But Aquarius is asking like, why am I with these people? You know, like it's just the same thing. So when it comes to practices, essentially what you want to do is you want to clean your inputs, speak less, mean more, align with people that you actually like care to utilize, and then journal like, I think I'm a guy talking about astrology. Self-explanatory. So when it comes to journaling, it's like, what am I saying without explaining? Which is essentially, who are you aligning with, right? So that's pretty much it for Aquarius. Now, moving on to Pisces. Then scroll past. I'm sorry you can't do what you want and you don't have the willpower to do what you want. Like, what? Like, you should be talking in the mirror, dude. I don't know what your problem is. But yeah, it's the last one, Pisces. Pisces is... Oh, well, thank you. So Pisces is the second house, so this deals with a lot of yes. But okay, so Aries, 1 second. Aries is the timestamp for Aries was 11:15 and the timestamp for Virgo was 24:10. So if you want to scroll back and watch that, there it is. And I'm also going to put in the timestamps in the replay. Thank you for asking. So essentially what we have with Pisces is dealing with a lot of money, self-worth, spiritualized. I got you. You know, value becomes sacred. And essentially, like, what you're dealing with the body is, like, you're dealing with a lot of, like, intuition, like, first eye. So, a lot of people call this your third eye. I call it your first eye because the spirit came first. So your first eye is, you know, you're dealing with a lot of that. You're dealing with a lot of, like, you know, value becomes sacred, and you're kind of just understanding, like, how you want to spend your energy, so on and so forth, right? So for the body, this is root security. Financial stress shows up physically. It doesn't necessarily have to, but it will show up physically. And then the practice that you want to do is you want to price your peace, build stability without scarcity. And then for journaling, you have to ask yourself, like, what do I truly value? And what does that require, right? So this is a common thing that a lot of people don't experience now, where it's just like everything's so like immediate that they don't understand like the true value. They don't understand like what it takes to actually achieve something anymore, right? So, sorry, I just woke up, my throat's dry. So essentially, like, it's like, hey man, like, you know, you're in a physical world with physical requirements. You need to do things to get things. Like, that's going to become very true for Pisces, and then by association, the social collective, you know? So that's pretty much it, guys. Neptune in Aries is not here to confuse you. It certainly won't be confusing. What does that mean, Beans? Oh, yeah. Hey, take some time. Let me tell you. I understand. It took me a long time to upload the moon video, and that's only 25 minutes. I can only imagine. But yeah, so it's like Neptune in Aries is... it's not here to confuse you. It's here to initiate you. The fog isn't the message. The message is what remains when you stop escaping, right? So it's like, if you want to see this transit in action and actually chart your body map themes, what you can do is check out the Solar Map app. It's basically, here, I'll show you.
It's this website I created that essentially shows you like what the transits look like in your body. So here for Aries, you can see you can see Neptune right here in the crown chakra, and so on and so forth, right? So it's linked in the description if you want to check it out. Check out your body map. You know, you put your things on it, you hover, like you get readings. It's pretty cool. I don't really feel like convincing or selling people on it. Like, it's cool on its own. No one's ever made anything like it, and it will most definitely, like, you know, change your life and insight in terms of understanding how astrology moves from you from an internal perspective, and literally change your subconscious perspective of astrology, of being like, oh, the planets are happening to me, to, okay, these transits are coming from me, and actually create the life that I want because it's coming from an internal space. But yeah, and then if you want to learn and go deeper with astrology and have like more like reading energy like this, check out the Alchemist Laboratory, linked in the description. It's my school where I basically have a bunch of astrology courses and updates on what's going on, right? So without further ado, you know, if you haven't gotten your reading already, drop your rising time below. And yeah, I'm going to be putting the timestamps in now. Catch y'all later.